Hello, friends and family. Today I want to talk about how do you rest? I'm Jen, and today and every day we talk about my quest to crush aggressive diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, DLBCL stage 4. And we're using the R-EPOCH immunotherapy chemotherapy to crush Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Thank you so much for joining me on the journey today. Let's get into it. So how do you rest? I found this meme last week or the week before, and I said, I think I'll talk about this next week. So what does rest look like for you? So many people associate rest with sleep. That's kind of obvious. And I've been doing that a lot, right? I've been laying in bed. But what are some of the other things that are rest? So this was interesting. Sorry, I printed out my meme because I'm not looking at it electronically. Being unproductive. Check. I find myself incredibly unproductive for the last 3 days. Time away from draining energies. So I'm not sure about this one from the perspective of this whole chemo thing is kind of draining. So I'm not sure that I can check that one. Solitude outdoors. I think that there is definitely some rest to be found there. I have not been employing that right now. I've been basically in my bed, in my pajamas, at home, resting. Logging off, definitely. I think you may or may not have noticed that I wasn't responding to comments on this page for a few days. I did add that to my to-do list today. I was able to respond to everybody, so thank you for your understanding. Did take a few days, but I'm back in-ish. You know, it's something I can do laying down, and it doesn't take too much brain power, so I was able to do it. A limited to-do list. I think I've got that one. Check. I've been doing that one. Safe space. I'll call home a safe space. Check. And letting go. Definitely for me. I've let go of my personal expectations about what I need to accomplish in a given day, in a given hour, etc. Even my movement has been greatly restricted. Today, just walking upstairs here to the recording studio, walking the steps is challenging for me right now. The chemo at this stage in the cycle, the toll that it's taken on my physical body is difficult to manage. And, you know, again, I'm remembering to be gracious with my body, to, you know, listen. I walk slowly. I take a break on the landing. I rest when I get upstairs. I rest when I get downstairs and so forth. So I'm being careful. Before walking the steps, I figure out if I have everything I need to go up the steps, and I make sure to only make the trip once, not run up and down like I typically would do. So typically I just run up the stairs or down the stairs as if it's nothing. And I do it multiple times per day. And I don't really give it any consideration about remembering or forgetting. And if I do more walking, all the better, right? That's better for my body, the exercise and so forth. But during these days, I'm not doing that. I'm being very considerate about when I walk up the stairs and down, and you know what what I have with me, and then I have everything I need for whatever I'm going upstairs to do, and so forth and so on. So that is definitely a consideration right now. That's part of my letting go, because I'm acknowledging that my physical body can only do certain things, if that makes sense. So that is how I am resting right now. How do you rest? What do you think? I think that many of us think of rest only as sleep, but really, realistically, I would say I would add something to this rest. For me, if I can sit or recline, then crocheting is rest for me. It allows me to be somewhat productive. I'm doing something, but it's very repetitive. I think I've shared with you multiple times. It's an active meditation for me. It's repetitive. I produce something. Sometimes I don't keep to something, right? Last week I did something and I tore it all out, right? So it doesn't mean it was any less valuable to me, because I was able to do the active meditation with it, right? But for me, that is a form of rest. I find that if I sit, I could crochet for hours and feel totally refreshed, because it shut my brain down. I'm not thinking about the other things. I'm not focused on, I'm not stressing. I'm not having anxiety. I'm just focusing on that repetitive motion. So that is very restful for me. So what are some things that are restful for you? List them down below. Let's have a conversation. Okay, so I am doing much better. Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say much. I'm doing better than yesterday. Uh, I dressed a little bit, right? Um, I was able to sit in the recliner for several hours. I took a late lunch and my dinner in the recliner. So I ate, for several hours this afternoon, evening. I sat in the recliner, I crocheted, I watched a little TV for several hours, I would say. So that was a big accomplishment. The other days, day 7 and day 8, I was unable to sit up for any length of time. When I physically became exhausted and sick when I sat up for any length of time. So that was a big improvement. I did lay in bed most of the morning. I had a nap after traditional lunchtime. So I don't think I've mentioned over the last several videos, I've been doing my Porridge Plus. It's been taking hours, as it typically does at this. So I think I finished my Porridge Plus at, noon or 1 p.m. today, and then was immediately exhausted and took a nap. And then when I got up, I went to the chair, I had a little nosh. I crocheted, I watched some TV, I ate dinner later in the recliner, interacted with the family. We'll talk about that in the shower list in a little bit. So it was a pretty good day, mostly restful. Like I said, not a whole lot of activity. As far as I know, there were no angel deliveries today, and there was no doctor news. So let's talk about the to-do list, which was a little more than I expected, but I'm not displeased. I did rest. I did hydrate. I did crochet. That was fun. I responded to your comments. That made me feel good that I was able to respond finally. Although I know that you all were very understanding that the reason that the comments weren't coming back was because I wasn't feeling well. So thank you. And I really appreciated that you continued to send me comments, go Jen, and support and love and prayers. Even when I wasn't responding, because that was very helpful in the healing process. I was reading them, I just didn't have the energy to respond. So the final thing I did today was a family meeting from my recliner, and I created a household task list, which is still in progress, but I did draft it, and now my household members are collaborating, and we're gonna restructure it a bit and then kind of claim it. So one of the things I think I've said before, and is incredibly evident, when Mom or Jen is not feeling well and just stays in bed, the house begins to crumble a bit. There's lots of stuff that's on my shoulders versus everyone's shoulders. So, today I was like, okay, even though this hopefully was my last round, we don't know for sure, but hopefully, this has to change. This isn't acceptable. So, okay, here's what we have to get done in a week. How can we equally distribute this, Okay, so that was my to-do list. My to-do must list for tomorrow: rest and hydrate. And my to-do would love to do is continue to crochet and make a plan for the pantry. So I have been telling Bill for at least a year, maybe longer, probably almost 2 years. We're having a problem with our big freezer in the pantry. We have like a deep freeze. When he was in the hospital, so that's 3 years ago, we had a case where the whole freezer defrosted and refrosted, like refroze and like chucked everything. And then we've been pretty careful about what we put in there since then, because we don't want to lose stuff and, so forth and so on. But I noticed the other day, like, a bucket of orange sherbet had separated, and the ice cream sandwiches are soft, and, looks like most, I typically don't put meat in that freezer because I'm worried about the temperatures. Potatoes seem okay, but a little soft, those kinds of things. So, I had showed him maybe 2 weeks ago. I think this is still an issue. We were trying to limp by, but it's not working. One of the things we did was we put lots of ice packs and ice jugs in there to try and just even consider it to be like an ice box, if you know, like an old school ice box. So that even when the machine's not working, all the ice that's in there will keep the stuff cold. But I don't think it's cutting it anymore. Yeah, I'm keeping it very full so that, with airflow, but full so that it would, keep everything cold, but it's just not there. So for whatever reason, I'm not sure, Bill decided that we would go freezer shopping on day 7. which I did not mention to you guys because, of course, I wasn't there. We didn't physically, like electronically, virtually. So he purchased a new freezer for the pantry, and it will be arriving on Friday. So I have to make a plan to empty the freezer and repack the freezer and clean out the walkway to the freezer before Friday. So that is the last thing on my to-do, would love to do, would be to come up with the plan of what we have to get accomplished. And I think that overall my pantry needs to be kind of thinned. You know, I don't even know what's in there. I don't know what's good anymore. You know, what do we have that we don't use? What was gifted that maybe we should donate to a food pantry? You know, like all those kinds of things. So there's some work to be done there. It's not happening tomorrow, but I can go into the room maybe or snap some pictures or video and then lay down and come up with a plan for how we're going to attack this. So that's what I mean there. One thing I have not mentioned on the videos for the last couple days, although I think I did at least put the graphic up, is that you guys are killing it with charity miles. I am not. I have not been moving at all. I can't even get the 0.1 for charity mile, but you guys are killing it. So we still have 19 on our team. We have accumulated 1,920 miles. Holy schmolies. And this is our team name. And if you'd like to join us, you are more than welcome to do so. There's also a link down below in the description. When you join Charity Miles, you have the opportunity to pick your charity. I am looking for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. You're welcome to do so, or you could pick another charity of your choice. And I think I've described in another video. I'll have to look for that one. Maybe I can find that for you. When we make it to 2,000 miles, we will have earned about $500 for our selected charity. If we all were going leukemia and lymphoma, then we would have earned $500 for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, which is pretty incredible. Just from moving around. Good job, everyone. And I'm really proud of that you're moving. I think that's great. I'm very happy that you're helping your own physical body. That makes me very happy. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much if you're just joining us for story time. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Love you. Remember, every day is a gift. Live it. See you tomorrow.